It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast on this, the third day of March, 2025. Brought to you by Will US, the owner of Scoot Around, and by Chilliescruises. All right, guys, we have a couple things this morning. One, we have a detailed, in-depth story again this morning about the situation with Canada traveling to the U.S. And we also have a bunch of stories today. So we got a pretty full show this morning. I'm going to double check here, make sure that the systems are all working, and apparently they appear to be. Good morning to Mike and Katie and Kenneth and Joanne and Gretchen. Good morning, all you guys. So today's show, the lead story and the in-depth article is about the Canadians canceling U.S. travel en masse. Also today, we've got Carnival settling a lawsuit, a Bolivian bus crash, passengers face fines, a search underway, officer sentenced, and passenger arrested with a firearm. That and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning on the Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast. Today, folks, is National Cold Cuts Day. I can eat cold cuts a number of ways, with a sandwich, or like yesterday, Mr. Gene cooked some fried eggs and took some slices of ham, regular sandwich slices, and fried that up with the eggs. Made a nice little additive to the breakfast yesterday. Of course, cold cuts come in a lot of different ways, from salami to bologna to ham, turkey, pastrami, anything. All right, this day in history in 1923, Time magazine publishes for the very first issue. If you're listening via the podcast, you're always welcome here. You can access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. If you are listening to the podcast and ever want to jump over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast so you can access the video feed in case you want to look at a interview or pictures that we're using on that day's show, or video clips, any of those types of things. All right, so we're going to start off today with our in-depth story. It's actually in two segments. But before we get started, let's pause for a quick break from one of our network sponsors, and then we'll talk about Canadians canceling U.S. travel. All right, so let's get started with our in-depth story for the morning. In an in-depth article written by Gabrielle Fahmy of the New York Post, Canadians are canceling their American vacations en masse as the next front in the U.S.-Canadian trade war is being fought at airports, gas stations, and gift shops. Both air and travel have been impacted as the U.S. northern neighbors protest the impact of tariffs on their country's economy an offensive that could cost the American economy $2.1 billion and 14,000 jobs, according to the U.S. Travel Association. Though no decisions have been announced yet, the main Canadian airlines are all considering cutting trips to the U.S. this spring. Carlo Torini from Montreal traded his family's April vacation to New York City for the Bahamas instead. We're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore, Torini told the Post in a recent article, adding that the U.S. is wiped off the map for the next 4 years as far as his family's travel is concerned. Quebec's Minister of Education has even urged 10th graders who plan their annual sojourns from Montreal to the Big Apple to rethink their plan. We are all on the front lines, Bernard Drainville said earlier this month in Quebec's National Assembly. Schools in Quebec and also in Manitoba have since traded in trips to the Empire State for the city of Toronto. In a letter to parents, Nancy Paquet, General Secretary of the Montset Maurice School Engineer Center, cited decisions by the U.S. government which could have a significant impact on the parents' employment as the reason, referring to jobs that would be lost if the tariffs get the go-ahead. For others, it's the sheer insult of the jokes around Canadian being the 51st American state. With each passing day of more annexation threats, our family decided we have to cancel our March break Florida trip, wrote a self-described angry Canuck and mother of 4 in a Reddit group where Canadians trade tales of U.S. boycotts. The travel rebellion is already having an impact. Canadian airlines are considering cutting down on their flights to the U.S. this spring in the face of the decreasing demand at around 25%, according to WestJet. And the number of Canadians returning from the U.S. by car has fallen by about 15,000 in January, the first drop since the pandemic, according to Statistics Canada. All right, we'll be back with the end of the story after another break. Universal Epic Universe opens May 22nd, 2025. Select tickets and packages are on sale now. Boy, this is a whole new game, folks. 4 parks, a whole new Universal experience. This changes everything. Now with 4 amazing theme parks, spectacular theme hotels, and more, Universal Orlando offers an entire week's worth of awesome and one complete vacation destination. Universal Epic Universe, opening May 22nd, 2025. Give me a call for tickets and packages on sale now, 434-258-9264, and we'll visit the Universal Epic Universe. By the way, the Florida resident tickets went on sale yesterday. So if you're a Florida resident interested in tickets and packages, give me a call, 434-258-9264. Back for the conclusion of our Canadians canceling U.S. travel story. Florida is one state that's sure to feel the pain. It's a darling of the Canadian travelers, with many retirees, snowbirds as they're known, spending the winters in the Sunshine State. The Fort Lauderdale area especially is flush with Canadians, with many returning to the same spots winter after winter. This year, the area had been expecting between 1.3 and 1.5 million Canadian visitors, spending $950 to $975 million. Canadian snowbirds are just part of the fabric of this community all winter long and have been for decades, at least 50 years, Stacy Ritter, CEO of Visit Lauderdale, told the Post. Ritter said she's already been fielding emails from regulars who explained why they're not coming back. It felt like a gut punch, lamented Ritter. It makes me want to cry. Other states feeling the brunt from the same thing are Arizona, Southern California, New Mexico, and Texas. North of the 49th parallel, the owner of Maple Leaf Tours, who sells package group travel, told the Post an alarming number of vacationers canceled U.S. tours already this year. It's taken a turn for the worse across the industry, said Christine Geary. She estimates U.S. cancellations at 40% and her losses in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've never seen this, said Geary, whose family has owned the business for more than 30 years. Americans, meanwhile, haven't been boycotting Canadian travel. In January, the number of U.S. travels to Canada by car was 707,000, up more than 23% from the same month last year, according to Statistics Canada data. The same Reddit group sees the occasional American asking if it's still okay to visit Canada. I'm all for Americans coming up and supporting us, writes one Canuck. Just don't make jokes toward us becoming a 51st state. I'd lose my four-letter word that begins with an S. Representative Nick LaLotta, Republican, New York, offered a somewhat of an olive branch to the Great White North. We'll happily welcome our little brother back, whether it's as our 51st state or a trading partner at a more balanced table, he said. Not all Americans, including me, agree with this American cavalier attitude. Carnival Corporation has agreed to settle a lawsuit accusing a P&O Cruise Australia ship of operating a cruise from hell. The company has admitted no liability but will pay out more than 2.4 million Australian dollars. The Pacific Aria ship was caught in a Category 5 cyclone, Donna, in 2017 during a 7-day cruise departing from Brisbane to Noumea. The class action suit was filed in 2023 by Carter Kettner Law on behalf of lead plaintiff Deborah Jackson. The suit claims the cruise line was aware the storm was forming and its path would potentially impact the cruise. By sailing into the path of Cyclone Donna without giving passengers the opportunity to cancel and obtain a full refund, it subjected passengers to a miserable 7 days, says law firm director Peter Carter. The vessel encountered rough conditions, which had the consequence that many activities aboard the vessel were curtailed, facilities were closed, and ports that were intended to be visited were not, the suit stated. At least 37 people have died and 30 injured after 2 passenger buses collided in Bolivia. The crash happened early on Saturday, about 3 miles from the southwestern city of Uyuni. One of the drivers was receiving intensive care while the other was in stable condition, said Police Commander Wilson Flores. Images published in Bolivia media showed a badly damaged coach with its bodywork ripped off and luggage scattered on the roadside. One bus was traveling to the western city of Oruro, where Oruro Carnival, one of Latin America's largest festivals, was taking place. This is an update on the MSC Grandiosa cruise sailing from Port Canaveral on February 14, 2026, with stops in Nassau, Ocean Key Marine Reserve, and Puerto Plata. Inside cabins start at $643 per person. Solos start at $933. Just call me 434-258-9264 and join us on MSC Grandiosa. Passengers expecting to hit the beach when visiting the coastal town of Split, Croatia, on a warm weather cruise will need to think twice about what they wear before stepping off the ship. A local order has introduced fines of up to €150, it's approximately $162, that will punish guests for the clothes on their backs, or more appropriately, the lack thereof. Anyone caught wandering the city streets in beach attire can be fined in an attempt to maintain Split's cultural and historic core's dignity during peak tourist season. This includes passengers disembarking from cruise ships to enjoy tours in the area's popular beaches. Bakvice Beach, a sandy cove near the city center and the port, is the largest in Croatia. The fines stretch to lingerie and bra tops, as well as men going shirtless, even when summer temperatures soar into the high 80s. A search operation is currently underway for a woman who went overboard from Royal Caribbean cruise ship Explorer of the Seas at 11 p.m. on the first day of the 80s cruise, about 80 miles east of Miami. The ship's captain informed passengers of the situation via public address system, and the crew members promptly deployed a speedboat in search for the missing individual. 2 nearby ships have also joined in the search efforts. Witnesses report that the woman allegedly jumped from deck 8 following a heated argument with her partner. One of the fascinating aspects of cruising the Columbia and Snake Rivers is transiting through 8 distinct locks to bypass massive hydroelectric dams. Along your 465-mile journey, you will change 738 feet in elevation, more than 8 times the elevation change of the entire Panama Canal. The locks measure 675 feet in length, 86 feet in width, accommodating up to 4 shipping barges with a total cargo capacity equal to 140 jumbo train cars or 538 semis. As you cruise through these locks, you will not only traverse the scenic beauty of the Pacific Northwest, but also engage with the monumental achievements that have defined the region's development. Each lock and dam tell a story of ambition, innovation, and the complex balance between human progress and environmental stewardship. To learn more about how you can experience the locks and dams on our 9-day Columbia and Snake River cruise or our 7-day Columbia River Gorge cruise, call me at 434-258-9264. American Cruise Line, small ship cruising, done perfectly. Recent ruling by Piraeus Mixed Jury Court, the captain and first officer of the Blue Horizon ferry have been sentenced to imprisonment following the drowning of passenger Antonius Carrodus in September of 2023. The first officer received a 12.5-year sentence for manslaughter, while the captain was sentenced to 7 years and 5 months for permitting the vessel's departure after the incident. Both individuals were ordered to commence their sentences immediately as the court denied requests for suspension. On September 5th, 2023, the Port Piraeus Athens 36-year-old Carrodus attempted to board the Blue Horizon ferry bound for Heraklion, Crete. As the vessel was departed and the stern ramp was still lowered, Carrodus ran to board. A crew member confronted him, and during the altercation, Carrodus was pushed off the ramp and into the harbor waters. He was subsequently caught in the ferry's wake and drowned while crew members and passengers observed. Despite the incident, the ferry continued its journey and returned to port 40 minutes later, only after receiving orders from authorities. Prosecutors charged 4 crew members: the captain, first officer, second officer, and the boatswain. A passenger was arrested in Aruba after attempting to board a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, Oasis of the Seas, with a firearm, according to local media reports. The incident occurred on February 26 while the ship was docked in Orangutan, Aruba. During routine security screening, the ship's security team detected a revolver in the possession of a male passenger who was attempting to board the vessel. The discovery immediately triggered security protocols, and the passenger was detained at the port. Local news outlet Masse reported that it remains unclear whether the tourist had purchased the firearm locally or if he had it in his possession before attempting to board. Given the nature of the incident, the ship's security promptly notified the authorities. Aruba police responded to the scene. A police unit arrived at the port, detained the person, and transported him to the investigative department for further questioning. Additionally, forensic specialists from the technical department documented the firearm by taking photographs before confiscating it as evidence. Authorities have not yet released further details regarding potential charges or the identity of the detained individual. The Oasis of the Seas continued its scheduled itinerary following the incident. Cruise around the world with the Will Model C2. That's the chair that I use. Our chairs will easily fit through accessible cabin doors and can navigate those tight spaces and crowded places. To see if Will may be right for you, click on the link below to schedule a test drive. Just tell them to use code CHILLIE for all your mobility needs. That's scootaroundstore.com. All right. So, Hi there said we lost sound after the scoot around commercial. Let's see. Does that get the sound back? Can somebody, if you can now hear me, done. Can you hear me now? I hope that's working. So somebody stick me a comment. Yep, you can hear. Okay, sound back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'll go back and say hello to everybody again. Obviously, I blanked that out somehow. Anyway, Mike, Katie, Kenneth, Joanne, and Gretchen, they were all with us from the start. Gary's here, Bob's here, Hot Air Tom's here. He just called me, obviously. Amy's with us. Roger's here from Jacksonville. Gretchen said, I saw the same cancellation story for Cape Cod this year. Chillie, do you think my travel plans in 12 days will be canceled? No, I do not. I think you're probably good to go. Americans can stop going to Canada easy peasy. I'm uncomfortable with putting these, what appear to me to be taxes on our friends. And again, I don't want to get into the hassle of arguing the politics of this, but I just, to charge Canada and Mexico, I'm just not sure it's right. So I do not agree with the policy. I will go that far. And say no further. I just don't agree with that, those fees or taxes or whatever you want to call it being added. Todd's with us. Says good morning, everybody. Better be careful. Keep your clothes on. I must have missed something there. Oh, that's where I lost the sound. Where'd you go? Nice in Myrtle Beach said yesterday fire was on the other side of the intercoastal waterway. Yeah, I saw the fires down the Myrtle Beach area. That was pretty nasty. Sound back. Everybody said sound back. Thank you for all that. Katie, where are you going in 12 days? She's going out west. Going to Seattle, I believe it was. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Again, my apologies. Now, why did I lose the picture? I've got a black, I don't know. Not sure why things are not going the way I had planned them this morning. But at any rate, anyway, that's going to wrap it up, the show for this morning. I'm sorry we had technical issues on the back end. But anyway, thanks for being here. Don't forget, folks, smash that thumbs up button if you don't mind. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. I don't always screw things up like I have today. Yeah, well, sometimes I do. But anyway, my next scheduled show is on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've gone, about 5 days in a row with shows, even over the weekend, this past weekend. So I'm probably due a day off now, and I'll see everybody back here on Wednesday, unless something major happens between now and Wednesday morning. As always, folks, thanks for being with me. Stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see everybody back here on Wednesday.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.